Welcome back. This is Aretha in New York City. I hope you can hear me. San Juan Hill. Why share stories about black settlement and towns that were torn down by the government? To bring you down? Of course not. One, it shows our ancestors' relentless pursuit of thriving while black. Two, they're evidence of the US government's role in ensuring white dominance at the expense of black people. Three, it provides a blueprint of how to build better together. Four, it's to remind us that we are in a marathon and we don't get to stop running because we appear to be losing. The marathon ends when the injustice ends. So, San Juan Hill was first the home of the Lenape indigenous people. So, it's an area in New York City, Manhattan. And these Lenape indigenous people were displaced by the Europeans. Then it was the home of African Americans, Afro Cubans, and Puerto Ricans. And then the area was colonized again by white people, and it's called Lincoln Square, and it's wealthy, predominantly white neighborhood where black people and people of color are primarily regulated to public housing. And you know how that works. People in public housing do not accumulate housing wealth. Between the 1900s and 1915, San Juan Hill was predominantly African American and the largest African American settlement after World War I. The sociologist and first secretary of the NAACP, Francis Balcour, described a city scene. One finds a newly arrived family from the West Indies eagerly and perilously hanging out of the fourth story windows to view the strange street life of their adopted city. From one apartment comes the strain of a Bach fugue being practiced by the daughter of an established merchant of the neighborhood. Still another few step discloses a front stoop alive with children and a bandanaed auntie fresh from the south. Sandwiched among these is the New York Negro family, thoroughly and typically American in its mode of life and ideals. Such a milieu became an incubator for rich cultural development. This rich cultural development was affected by the two US presidents who created policies about the US Housing Acts. And the intent they gave was to improve urban neighborhoods afflicted by poverty and decay. But instead of fixing the issues in San Juan Hill, they demolish the area with its 800 ethnically diverse businesses. And it was a lie. That area was not poverty stricken. The neighborhood had a mix of economic backgrounds, and the overcrowding was the result of white people controlling the housing market so that black people were forced to remain in this one area. Additionally, there was physical harassment from white people towards the black residents, and the black people banded together to protect themselves. San Juan Hill was culturally rich and was the birthplace of bebop and the Charleston. It had residents such as Arthur Schomburg of the Schomburg Library, Ram Ramirez, James P. Johnson, Benny Carter, Thelonious Monk, and Zora Neale Hurston, to name a few. San Juan Hill inspired the West Side Story. Additionally, there were many churches and social organizations that helped residents, such as the Negro Elks and the Colored Freemasons. People played games such as there were Caribbean cricket teams, tennis clubs, and Southern people brought baseball. And people created benevolent societies that represented their areas of origin. So what are the suggestions? Because you see it there. Something was happening there for them. My suggestion in the present and in the future is elect better governments and be the government that you want elected. And mostly remember, if people are winning because the government is rigging the race in their favor, they're cheating, not winning. Thanks for listening.